man, the morning roast, man. Like, I like how that's how the conversation
Well, I don't know
started.
how the conversation started. It just kind of developed into that. It's like, yeah, morning radio, I'm working off no sleep right now, man.
Getting back to your original point, though, it does feel like to me, I'm very excited for the Warriors season this year. And my favorite part of all of this, and this is not a shot at Klay Thompson, so please just understand. But I think him not being on the team has kind of like reset or recalibrated everyone's feelings. Like the championship days, like, hey, maybe we get blessed and something magical happens and, they pull the sword from the stone, to go with the Kings analogy here. Maybe, but that's probably unlikely. And if you're setting yourself up for championship where I'm going to be pissed, well, then you're probably going to be pissed this year.
Yeah, no doubt.
I am not going in with that setting. Like the last 2 years, they've, barely got into the playoffs, whatever you want to call it, the play-in. And so for me, if you just made the playoffs this year, that would be an awesome year.
Well, you know what? They won 46 games last year, and the season before, Sacramento won 48 and was the number 3 seed in the Western Conference. Warriors won 46 last year, didn't even make it to the playoffs, and were in 10th place. Shows you how deep the West is. And I'm eager to see what Minnesota looks like without Karl-Anthony Towns. I do think them without Karl-Anthony Towns, I don't think there's going to be a lot of drop-off because I believe that much in Naz Reid. I believe that much in Dante DiVincenzo. And Julius Randle, I think they'll figure something out with him.
He's a ball hog.
He is a ball hog. But he's on the team, and I think they can make that work. Finch is a hell of a coach. I think Finch will put them in positions to succeed. But I think they'll be okay. I got
to see that one first.
I don't think there's going to be a dramatic drop-off without Karl-Anthony Towns.
Well, Karl-Anthony Towns did destroy the Warriors, it feel like.
Oh, yeah, he did. But so does Naz Reid.
No, Minnesota took it to the Warriors.
Well, Naz Reid is the Warriors'
Rudy
killer.
Gobert when Draymond took it to him.
Naz Reid is, but there was an unnamed player. There was an unnamed player who told me, he's like, dude, I think we're getting 50 wins this year. I think we're getting 50.
What? I just did a whole segment on a whole setup on how I think the playoffs would be outstanding. It would be an outstanding season.
I had an unnamed player tell me 50. 50. They won 46 last year, and they feel like they're going to be better.
It does feel. Again, it just is, all these feel like shots at Klay, and that's not where I'm going. But it just feels like a lot of the oxygen of the championship oxygen that was like everywhere, and it was almost difficult to breathe at times for a lot of these younger players. A lot of that has gone out the room, and I just think that there's more shots, there's more minutes, there's more up for grabs. Like Jonathan Kuminga. I'm very, 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 very excited to see what Jonathan Kuminga has in response to, hey, we don't think that you're right now worth $50 million a year. Yeah. Go out and prove it. I'm happy that they're making that happen. I want to see him earn that money.
No doubt. We all do. And Draymond in Media Day, and Monty Poole and I taped the Warriors season preview yesterday. We ran a lot of interviews from Kara Brick, who did a great job sitting down with Steve Kerr and Steph Curry and Draymond Green, Andrew Wiggins, and Jonathan Kuminga. And look, Draymond made a good point, actually. He's like, and then don't say that he's pocket watching as you're listening to 95.7 Game KGMZ FM and AC1 San Francisco and Odyssey Sports Station, always live on the Odyssey app. This will go one or two ways. But when you have a DeAnthony Melton on a one-year contract, he's playing for some money, right? He's playing for a contract. Gary Payton II, playing for a contract.
Well, he looked good. I saw a shirtless GP2 in Hawaii.
What'd you have? A Truly?
Dude, this guy's got like a 50-pack, not a 12-pack, not an 8-pack.
I don't think Shassie's going to be ripping GP2 this year. He was schmoozing. What about the Olympic Club, baby?
Yeah,
let me tell you.
Buds.
It was next level schmoozing, baby. Hey, GP2, man, you're not a specialist, man. I can't wait to see you play. Oh, Shassie.
Well, when you donate your time and you help our community, I have a soft spot for you.
He's always done that.
I know, but he did it with me in the room.
And his dad, Gary Payton, the glove, is the coach now at College of Alameda.
JUCO.
There you go.
JUCO, junior college. Yep. Mm-hmm. Alameda Hornets, I believe.
Yes,
the Hornets.
Sir.
No, GP2's a really good guy.
Yeah, he's a really good guy. Look at the switch up over here. Yeah,
he is.
No, he's a great dude. But he said what's up in Media Day. But you have GP2 playing for money. You have DeAnthony Melton playing for a contract. Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody are playing for contracts. Kevon Looney is playing for a new contract. So there's a lot of motivation individually and team-wise. And so I kind of like, me, I like a guy in the contract here. It could go one or two ways. You can make a decision for me. You're either going to ball out. Now, we could get duped and overpay somebody, and that happens in sports. I get all that. But I'd rather have a guy in the contract here knowing I'm going to get the best out of this guy one way or the other. So there's a lot of intrigue with this Warriors team. There's no doubt about it. And Steve Kerr's mentioning we're going to shoot a lot of threes this year. There's going to be a shift in philosophy. We may look more like the Houston Rockets from 2018, 2017, 2019. Now, they'll take some mid-range stuff and take some mid-range jumpers or whatnot, but a lot of other players are going to be empowered to shoot the basketball. And by the way, TJD grew another inch. He looks great. Chopped it up with him, too.
How about Kuminga with the Cisco hair?
That's what they're doing. Sakti, boy Sakti, producer over at NBC Sports Area. What up, Sakti? He said that they're doing that in soccer now. All the African players in the Premier League and out there in La Liga dyeing their hair blonde.
Oh, really?
I think that's the thing now.
It's back now?
I guess it's back.
Interesting. Because do you guys even get the reference, the Cisco reference?
Please.
I'm just asking.
Come on.
I was thinking Simon Phoenix, Demolition Man.
Oh, that's a good one.
Or Meteor Man.
Well,
Robert Townsend.
Dennis Rodman took it to a whole nother level.
Yeah, you're not beating Robin.
No. But like when I think of Cisco, like when I see Kuminga, that's what I think of.
Right.
Even though Cisco's probably like 5'1".
So what you think of the back and forth between Draymond and Scott Ostler? Because that made the rounds yesterday. All the national television shows, and we didn't really play it because we're kind of flexing our muscle. We were probably a little obnoxious yesterday. I fully admit I was obnoxious. I went a little too hard on people. And shout out to Alexander Simon. I love the kid. I do. I was just busting his balls, but he's a good kid.
Well, tell really Alex that maybe he can write a story about the two of us. How two local boys from the city raised in different necks of the neighborhoods, necks of the woods.
I'm not going to beg for any ink.
Why don't you write a nice little piece about us? It'd be really nice, Heaven forbid you write about two hometown boys making good on their promise to dominate the airways.
Oh man, I'm not going to go there. You could go there. Well, if you
I'm asking for it.
Yeah, I'm going to be humble in this one. Yeah, I'm going to be very humble in this one. But, I kick down, I kind of punch at some people that are just, no names on the app that is toxic as hell, and I shouldn't have done that. So I apologize to everybody out there because I felt a little self-righteous yesterday, a little self-serving yesterday about everything that went down. So I want to walk it back, but I was just excited. But I admit, when I drove home at that point, I really sounded like a douchebag at times yesterday. I was just flexing. It wasn't right. It wasn't right. Anyway, you had the Draymond Green back and forth with Scott Ostler. Go ahead and play it. At Media Day, Scott Ostler, San Francisco Chronicle columnist, Spadoni's grabbing it. Obviously, Draymond Green he missed a lot of time last year. Played in 55 games, suspended for 17. Hurt for some other ones, some sickness, personal issues or whatnot, but he missed 27 games, and they won 46. They were 13 or 14 without Draymond Green. That record gets flipped to, 16 and 11. You're in 50 wins. You're in the 50-win range. You're the top seed. You're going to the playoffs. You're playing in a 7-game series. And he knows it. Everybody knows it. But Scott Ostler, Media Day, took a shot. And we had this awkward back and forth that Media Day between Scott Ostler from the San Francisco Chronicle and Draymond Green. Go ahead and roll us, Spadone.
People worry about you. Fans, maybe your teammates.
Why they worry about me? I am a successful black man in America doing incredibly well. What's the worry?
They worry about you.
There are way more people in this world to worry about than me, that's for sure.
But we're here now, so.
We're all here. I don't think you should worry about me.
Okay.
I'm doing pretty well. If you would have told me when I was 13 years old in Saginaw, Michigan, without a pot to piss in, that you'd be sitting here and somebody would say they're worried about you, I would have probably told them they were out of their mind. I'd be sitting here and they'd be worried about me.
Well, they're worried from themselves too. They want to know.
They don't feed.
They know the team needs you.
So why are they worried?
Because they know the team needs you.
But they don't feed.
And they don't know if
you're
going to be here.
Doing this.
So that's part one. Go ahead, roll part two, Spadone.
I'm here. I've been here for 13 years now.
If you're going to be here every night.
Been here pretty much every night for 13 years. Very much so. We all have. Look, Kevon Looney played 82 games 2 years in a row, and everybody was celebrating. We all miss games.
They want to know if you're going to be here by commitment.
I'm always here. And suspensions, the guideline of getting suspended is something that's in place because it's a possibility. So
Nothing changed that.
I don't know what would change, but I don't get the question. I think my mindset has helped us do some great things. It's pretty cool. So it's all about how you spin it. I love how you try and spin it, but it ain't my spin to it, player. So yeah, it's good.
So what you think, Shasky?
He's back.
He's back.
That's the first time Scott Ostler's been called playa.
Probably. Hey, playa. Yeah, that is.
I didn't
Draymond didn't take the bait. And I thought, and I've talked to you guys about this behind the scenes, and Scott is a accomplished
journalist. I actually really like Scott. He's super nice to me.
Yeah, no.
And I really like him as a guy.
No, he's my guy. I mean, Scott and I talk every single game. Every single game. Gabe, Gabe's a good dude. But I've talked to Scott a lot over the years. We've had him on the show over the years. I respect the hell out of Scott. He's been writing columns for my entire life. I mean, this guy's been doing it since we weren't even thought of when Scott's been writing over 40 years, I believe. But I just saw the presentation of the question. If you wanted to get that out the way I would have asked it, and who am I to tell Scott how to, I'm not telling Scott how to ask a question, but the way I probably would have asked it if I was going to go that route, Shafsky. Hey, Draymond, do you think your teammates are worried about you due to all the suspensions last year and what happened the last 2 seasons with the Golden State Warriors? Do your teammates worry about you staying on the floor? Do they worry about you mentally staying on the floor? And I would have gone with that route. Instead of, hey, are your teammates worried about you? Because now you leave an open-ended question that Draymond's a smart guy. He ain't no dummy. Why would my teammates be worried about me? It's an easy back and forth there. So I just thought the presentation, and it just sounded like, in talking to other journalists about it, a lot of people thought, boy, I'm surprised Scott went that route.
I will take your word on all of that because I've never been in a scrum asking questions like that, and I don't understand the tact or maybe the fundamentals of how to do it. So I'm gonna take your lead on it. But let me just reflect on Draymond. For a man that clearly is proud of all of the positives that he has accomplished in his life, there is an element of like, come on, man. You could take a little accountability on a few negatives that you might need to clean up a little. No doubt. And I think that acknowledging that, like, yeah, I got myself suspended last year, and no one is saying you got to beat yourself up over it, but do you really have to be defiant to the point where it sounds like you're just not taking any accountability? Just a little bit of reflection, just a little, would just go a long way. Like, it's day one. Do we really need to be exhausted with this already?
Well, I don't think,
And I'm not saying we are.
Yeah, no, but, when we talk about accountability for what happened last season, you can have your opinion about it. I feel like he's addressed it throughout last season and in the summertime. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm thinking, with the team going to Hawaii, it felt like he was getting provoked to relive that.
Okay.
And I felt like it's done, right? It's done. What happened last season is done. And it sucks because I thought they could have made the playoffs. And I hated the fact that Draymond was suspended because he told me it was the most important season of his career. And he got popped for 17 games. He got popped. That's on him. But I felt like he's addressed it so much that as a fan base, just like the Farhan Zaidi thing, the fans are just ready to move on from Farhan. It's like, we don't even care about him. I'm kind of like that with the Draymond thing from the last 2 years. I just want to move forward. It's like, man, can we get back to the playoffs?
But this goes back to, and this is just, I think, a constant theme with him. Like, dude, you knew it was going to be asked. I would have had just a more refreshing way to pivot off it. Hey, look, last year's last year. I made some mistakes. I'm going to try to learn from them. It's always a possibility that because I run hot, I know that, and I'm working on that, and I'm trying to move forward. And this year, I'm going to do everything I can to try to make myself something. I'm paraphrasing or whatever. And I know people are going to say, but that's Draymond. He has to live on the edge. Just give him the BS answer and move on. Yeah. And I think that you diffuse the whole thing.
Right.
I understand everyone's angle of it. It's just like, the last thing I want to do is relive what happened last year. Because in part, why they lost when they did is in part because of the suspension.
Yeah, no doubt. So Scott was asked, hey, are your teammates worried about you? And he was like, what? Huh? So you kind of left it an open-ended question. But, yeah, it was an awkward back and forth on media day, which I did not expect.
But quite frankly, it has zero bearing on the season.
None whatsoever. None whatsoever. And now people may have some opinions on it. I would love to hear from Warrior fans on the opinions about that. 888-957-95.